Hey, love, you have to stop taking every little thing so personally. Seriously. You can keep letting people affect your peace so easily because what usually happens is someone says something weird, does something disrespectful, or acts in a way that triggers you, and suddenly it takes over your whole day. Now you are replaying it in your head nonstop. You are talking about it with your friends, sending screenshots, overanalyzing every detail, thinking about what you should have said differently. And before you even realize it, you're stuck in this reactive state. You're no longer fully present in your own life because now your emotions are being controlled by someone else's actions. They did one thing, and suddenly they have power over your mood, your energy, and the way you move through your day. You were triggered, you were bothered, and you are not releasing that emotion. And ultimately, what's really important is you are not getting to the root of what caused you to be triggered, what caused you to be bothered. In this video, we're going to talk about how to stay unbothered when it comes to dealing with people and what you can do to keep yourself from falling into that reactive mindset. And the main ultimate goal is learning how to live with more peace, gratitude, and contentment instead of constantly reacting to stress or difficult emotions. Before we get into the meat of this video, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Eb, and I'm on a journey to become the best version of myself, and I truly hope you can do that too. And the way you do that is by getting this right. On this channel, I talk about personal development topics, anything to do with doing the mindset work and the inner work to really get where you want to go. Here, I also talk about manifestation and creating a life that feels good to you. If that sounds like something that you might be interested in, please consider subscribing or just commenting to let me know that you exist. That's always nice. I make these videos because I genuinely enjoy doing it. It brings me a lot of peace, fulfillment, and honestly, it helps me too. But knowing that something I say can also help someone else, that feeling never really stops being special to me. So truly, thank you so much for being here, for watching, for commenting, for supporting me in any way. And if there's ever a topic you want me to talk about, something specific you want to hear my thoughts on, or even an insight you want to share, please let me know. I always love hearing from you guys. So, how you can tell when something or someone is really getting to you? Sometimes it's not as obvious as we think. This is about those moments when another person's words, actions, or behaviors quietly stay with you and begin affecting your mood, your confidence, and even the way you move through your day. Maybe you keep replaying the situation over and over again in your mind. You bring it up repeatedly with friends or family because you can just shake it. You catch yourself searching for answers online, reading comments, looking for validation, or trying to make sense of what happened. Even when you want to let it go, it feels heavy inside. Those are often the signs that something was deeply bothering you or affecting you emotionally. But something being affected by something isn't loud or obvious. You may not even be thinking about the person or situation anymore, and yet something inside you feels unsettled. For me, I notice it as a shift in my energy and in my body. It's like heaviness, tension, restlessness, or a feeling that something is just, off even when everything seems normal on the surface. Over time, I've learned to pay attention to those small inner changes because they usually mean there's an emotion I haven't fully processed yet. On this channel, we talk a lot about energy, frequencies, vibration, and the deeper connection between the mind, body, and spirit. I love exploring those ideas, but I also want to speak from real personal experiences, especially the lessons I had to learn the hard way, so that maybe someone else can recognize this feeling sooner and avoid carrying unnecessary pain for so long. Now, when I'm going through life feeling content and full of gratitude and just happy to be alive and loving the people around me and loving what I do, even if it's not the perfect circumstances, there is this internal energy that no one can take from me. I'm living on a different energetic wavelength than when I'm living in anger and discontent. When I'm living in the energy I want to be in, I'm expressing gratitude. I'm feeling peace and authenticity. There's this warmth that emanates from inside of me. And it feels like there's no external force in the world that can extinguish this. It's kind of like when you are listening to music through headphones and you are completely immersed in it. The world around you could be loud, chaotic, messy, but somehow the music keeps you centered. That's what inner peace feels like. It's not that life suddenly becomes perfect, it's that you have something stable within you that external noise can't easily interrupt. If I have allowed someone to get under my skin, that extinguishes the warmth. When that warmth is gone, I'm bothered, and it is my job to figure out what triggered it and to release it, to stop taking it personally, to stop allowing it to interfere with the warmth inside of me, that energetic pull that I want to always have inside. I want you to think about this journey of becoming unbothered in two separate phases. There's an ultimate goal and there is an intermediary goal. The ultimate goal is someone could say something incredibly cruel straight to your face, for example, and your response is, okay. You hear it, it goes in one ear and out the other, it does not resonate. That's the end goal. That's what I think about when I think about being unbothered, that you just simply do not care. You might even find it funny that they felt the need to tell you that. And the way you get to that point is by working on how you feel about yourself. Because you want to get so comfortable with yourself, you want to be so sure of your value that someone insulting you or mistreating you in some way does not hold any weight, because it is not a reflection of you. Imagine someone looked at me and said, "You really don't look attractive without makeup." A younger version of me probably would have replayed that comment in my head for days. But when you've done the inner work, when you've spent time learning to genuinely accept yourself, comments like that stop piercing you so deeply, because your relationship with yourself becomes louder than someone else's opinion of you. You realize that beauty is subjective. People project their own insecurities all the time, and not every comment deserves an emotional reaction from you. I don't accept their opinion. Therefore, it's not going to permeate. And in order to get to that point, you have to work on your self-concept. And I feel like because I've been doing the inner work for a while now, I'm getting closer and closer to that point where things are not bothering me as much anymore. I don't need to self-soothe at the moment. It is just an automatic reaction of like, okay, this person is having an issue right now. They need to work on this, right? This has nothing to do with me. This is them. Sometimes I still catch myself getting upset or emotionally activated by the way other people act. And over time, I've learned a few things that help me step back from the situation, detach a bit, and let my emotions pass through and continue on with my day. So let me walk you through the process I use whenever I feel triggered and how I manage my reactions. Here's an example we can use to break it all down. Imagine you made plans with a friend to go out for dinner. You confirmed everything the night before, and she replied, "Yes, I'm excited." You spent almost 2 hours getting ready, and because you are someone who likes being on time, you leave early and start driving before you're supposed to meet, right? But halfway through the ride, with only 30 minutes left before dinner, she texts you saying she can't come anymore. No explanation, just, "Hey girl, I'm really sorry, I can't make it tonight." That's it. Immediately, you feel irritated. You start thinking, seriously? Why does she keep doing this? Does she care about my time at all? And the emotions start building up. Step 1, regulate yourself and ground your body. Pause, put the phone down. Don't answer right away. Even if she keeps sending messages, hold off for a minute. There's no rush anymore because she's not coming anymore. Then just breathe. One thing I like doing is inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and exhaling for 8. Let's do it together. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Eight. It is better when you exhale for a longer time than inhaling. I repeat that as many times as I need until I feel myself coming down a bit. People always say breathing helps, and it sounds cliche, I know, but it genuinely works. It slows your nervous system down and gives you a moment before reacting impulsively. We tend to think that our mind is the one pacing things down, but it all starts with our bodies, with our nervous system. So there's where you need to start. That's why breathing exercises are so helpful. I would also suggest shifting your posture. Relax your shoulders, roll them back, stretch a little bit, move your body around. I know it sounds small, but movement actually helps release emotions that get trapped physically. Honestly, I think that's part of why dancing feels so good. It helps emotions move through us more naturally. Another thing that helps is widening your focus. When you stare at your phone, your attention becomes very narrow. Put it away for a second. Stop your car if you are driving. Look around. Look out the window if you can. Notice your surroundings. Change your perspective, both physically and mentally. Now you've given yourself a moment to settle instead of reaction immediately. And honestly, that's already a huge win. The next step is identifying exactly what you're feeling. You probably already started doing that with thoughts like, why is she always like this? But go deeper. Maybe you feel annoyed, disappointed, hurt, dismissed, or unimportant. One thing that generally helps me is using a feelings wheel because sometimes I know I'm upset, but I can't fully explain why. You can find tons of them online. So maybe your feelings are I feel frustrated that my time was wasted, I feel let down, I feel disrespected. Then ask yourself where those emotions are showing up physically. Usually for me, I feel tension in my hands and or my chest. Maybe for you it is your shoulders, stomach or back. Emotions tend to settle somewhere in the body, and noticing that can help you start releasing them. Next, allow yourself to feel those emotions without criticizing yourself for having them. It makes complete sense that this situation upset you. The goal isn't to suppress your emotions or pretend you are unbothered. The goal is simply not letting those emotions control your behavior. After that, you want to look at the situation more objectively using facts and context. This is the part where you stop making it deeply personal. Remember, she's the one who canceled. You are reacting to her behavior, and you still get to decide how you respond. In this example, maybe this friend already has a habit of canceling plans. If that's true, you also have to acknowledge that you were aware of that pattern going on. Maybe part of your frustration is actually toward yourself because you ignored the signs again. That realization can bring up other feelings like I feel foolish, I feel played, my ego feels bruised. Sometimes what triggers us the most isn't only what the other person did, it's what the situation makes us feel about ourselves. Now, when you evaluate the situation, you can choose a healthier perspective. Instead of saying, she doesn't care about me, you might think, this seemed to be a pattern for her. It probably has more to do with her than with me. You can also leave room for compassion. Even if she cancels often, maybe this time something serious actually happened. Maybe she's overwhelmed or struggling emotionally. Then try reframing the experience in a more constructive way. For example, maybe the lesson is that this friend requires clear communication. Maybe next time you call before leaving the house to confirm. Maybe you tell her directly something like, hey, it takes me an hour to get there, so if plans change, I need more notice. That lesson itself becomes valuable. You can also look for gratitude somewhere in the situation. If this happened to me now, I would probably think, okay, I unexpectedly have free time now, right? Maybe I would take myself out somewhere, walk around the city, get some coffee, or do something alone that I normally put off. I would have enjoyed seeing my friend, yes, but now I get time with myself instead. There's usually some kind of silver lining if you are willing to look for it. The final step is deciding whether you need to set a boundary. Notice how throughout all these steps, we still haven't responded to her yet. That's intentional. You first want to decide how you actually want to handle the situation. A lot of people confuse boundaries with requests, but they are different. A boundary is a request plus a consequence. For example, imagine someone, let's say you have a roommate who starts insulting you during arguments. Saying, don't talk to me like that, is only a request. A boundary would be, if you continue speaking to me that way, I'm ending the conversation and walking away. The consequence is what makes it a boundary. Now, let's go back with your friend's situation. So now you check your friend's follow-up messages. Maybe she says something like, I'm really sorry, my anxiety is horrible right now, and I honestly can't go out. Something like that. That changes the context a bit. You can be empathetic with her while still acknowledging your own feelings. You might respond with something like, I'm sorry you are struggling right now, and I wouldn't want you forcing yourself to go out if you are overwhelmed, but at the same time, I feel hurt because I already spent time getting ready and traveling into the city, and I wish I had more notice. From there, her response tells you a lot. If she becomes defensive and dismisses your feelings completely, that's important information. But if she takes accountability and genuinely cares, then maybe you work together on solutions moving forward. Maybe next time you make lower pressure plans. Maybe you create a backup plan. Maybe you communicate differently beforehand. The point is that boundaries help relationships become healthier instead of silently building resentment. Now, dealing with this situation through text is one thing. Handling emotional triggers in person is more harder. That takes practice. If you're face to face with someone and emotions are running high, don't react instantly. Breathe. Stay grounded. Let them talk if they need to. Your biggest goal is learning not to let your nervous system overpower your ability to think clearly. Sometimes people want a reaction out of you. And honestly, the strongest response is often staying calm. Even if you eventually decide to speak up, pausing first gives you more control over how you handle things. Now, I also want to briefly touch on the law of detachment because I know a lot of people connect this topic to manifestation. Personally, I think detachment is more connected to outcomes than to everyday emotional triggers. For example, if a guy ghosts you after 3 dates, that usually hurts more than a friend canceling dinner because you attached a bigger meaning to it. Maybe you started imagining a future with him. Maybe you thought, what if this is actually my person? So when he disappears, it feels like more than rejection. It feels like your future got taken away from you. That's attachment. With your friend canceling dinner, you were mainly attached to spending a pleasant evening together. But with this guy, you became attached to a possible life outcome. The law of detachment says that when we cling too tightly to one specific outcome or one exact path, we create resistance. We try to force things instead of allowing life to unfold naturally. Manifestation is less about controlling every detail and more about setting intentions, taking aligned actions, and trusting that what's meant for you will come through the right path. I think of it like flying a kite. If the wind suddenly gets stronger and you grip the string tighter and tighter, you create tension. But if you loosen your grip a little, the kite can adjust to the wind and find balance again. Sometimes life works the same way. You can have desires, goals, and intentions while still allowing flexibility and in how things happen. And I truly don't believe the right path toward your desires will require constant self-abandonment, anxiety, or disrespect. If you're forcing something that continuously hurts you, that probably isn't alignment. This applies to dating too. If someone keeps ghosting you, they are likely not your path. Same with jobs. If one recruiter keeps ignoring you, maybe that specific route just isn't the one that's meant to open the door. Don't become so attached to one person, one opportunity, or one outcome that you ignore every other possibility around you. If you want me to make a deeper video specifically about the law of detachment, let me know. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment because I genuinely love hearing your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one.